Now, I never intended to shoot this particular video, but while writing for an entirely different topic, I realized what an absurd and ridiculously mispriced value this quarterback is in Dynasty. I mean, after finishing as the QB1 for 2 consecutive years, he now finds himself outside the top 25 in Dynasty. Curious who it is? Let's find out. What is up, everybody? I'm Nate Liss of DynastyRankings.com, and you can find me on Twitter at @AnOutrageJew. And this week, I'm back with another episode of The Burst, a series where I use Keep Trade Cuts crowdsourced data to find gaping holes in players' value. But as usual, before we jump in, do me and yourself a huge favor and hit the subscribe button in the corner of this video so I can continue to build this channel, which I am having a blast contributing to, and you can be first in line each time I drop my newest content. Now, at the top of this show, I tease the idea that somewhere out there in the universe is a quarterback who is being treated like he already has one foot in the grave, which I find incredibly hard to believe since he has finished as a QB1 in back-to-back seasons and has yet to give anyone a reason to lose faith in him. Now, if you've been screaming Ryan Tannehill's name at your television or computer or phone while I've been dangling this Twinkie on a string in front of you, then go ahead and give yourself a round of applause because you very well may be a genius, which I tend to believe that 93% of my audience is. It's the people that are concerned about Ryan Tannehill right now that I'm actually worried about. Look, the idea that the rookie Malik Willis, a total project, is supposed to be the end of Ryan Tannehill just shocks me. But honestly, what shocks me even more is the fact that people are actually valuing Tannehill like it's already happened. Now, at this point, Tannehill is being viewed as the Dynasty quarterback 25, which, funny enough, is actually just one single spot ahead of where Malik Willis is currently being ranked. But lucky for you all, I'm old enough to remember when mobile third-round draft pick Kellen Mond was supposed to take Kirk Cousins' job last season.
They took our jobs!
And then in week 17, when Kirk Cousins was forced to sit out due to testing positive for COVID the week prior, guess what happened? They started Sean Mannion instead. In a game that literally meant nothing at all, they decided they were not interested in seeing what they had in Kellen Mond. And now, a year later, Ryan Tannehill is at a similar discount because of Malik Willis, a third-round pick, who is also a mega project himself. I mean, what does Ryan Tannehill have to do?
What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
He's finished as the QB1 for 2 consecutive seasons, and if we go back an additional season, he was averaging 18.7 fantasy points per game, which was top 10 at the position. So he's basically been a QB1 for 3 consecutive years since leaving Miami. Meanwhile, players like Derek Carr are ranked 11 spots ahead of him, and he hasn't even sniffed the top 12 once in his entire career. Raiders fans, please don't send me hate mail. Because even while playing behind a middle-of-the-road offensive line with just one weapon to his name in this passing game last season, Tannehill was still ridiculously impressive. Don't believe me? Well, as I have said to you guys before, go ahead and throw on an adult diaper because you're about to yourself. After cracking 500 pass attempts for the first time in 5 seasons, Ryan Tannehill only proved that he actually needs more volume.
Sounding great, but I could have used a little more cowbell.
I mean, look at these accuracy numbers. Number 6 overall in accuracy rating. Number 2 overall in clean pocket accuracy rating. Number 2 in red zone accuracy rating. Number 10 in red zone completion percentage. And number 9 in pressured completion percentage, as well as top 15 rank in true completion percentage. What's interesting, though, is despite Tannehill finishing as a QB1 for multiple seasons, it hasn't really come on the backbone of his deep ball pass attempts. One of the biggest glaring holes in his 2021 profile was clearly his production as a big play passer, finishing outside the top 30 in deep ball accuracy rating as well as deep ball catchable pass rate. This is what makes Tannehill such an unusual story because not only does he have basically no talent around him besides A.J. Brown, but his production is rarely coming on the deep ball, and he's getting almost nothing after the catch from the weapons that are around him. I can't even honestly think of an analogy for this one. Actually, yes, I can. Have you ever participated in a tandem wheelbarrow race with a partner who couldn't even do one push-up? That's what this offense was like.
10.
Yeah, I'm betting.
After finishing number 27 in the league in yards after the catch per target, it's evident that Tannehill needed some help, and lucky for him, Tennessee went out and got it. After the addition of yards after the catch monster Treylon Burks, as well as Robert Woods, who prior to his injury last season finished as a top 10 player in yards after the catch for 3 consecutive seasons, Tannehill and his magically delicious arm may finally be on the cusp of something great entering 2022. Now, it's not like Tannehill is 60 years old or anything like he's Tom Brady. In fact, he's just 33 going on 34, which is the exact same spot that Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, and Kirk Cousins find themselves in. But the mental gymnastics that Dynasty players are going through to convince themselves to roster Ryan Tannehill are at an Olympic level. But I can illustrate this point with just one social media post that I fired into the abyss of Twitter this week. Now remember, Ryan Tannehill has essentially finished as a QB1 for 3 consecutive seasons since leaving Miami. So I asked on Twitter, is Jalen Hurts' grip on the Eagles' job any stronger than Ryan Tannehill's is on the Titans? And the answer is probably no, but yet Hurts is being valued as a top 10 dynasty asset. Look, boy, do we all love that rushing floor. Number 1 in rush attempts at the quarterback position. Oh, baby. Number 1 in rushing touchdowns at the quarterback position. Oh, baby. But watch what I'm about to do. Ryan Tannehill was number 13 in rush attempts. Hey, easy. But what if I told you he was also number 2 in rushing touchdowns? Yeah. And then the Tannehill haters would bring up Derrick Henry's missed time as the reason that he finished number 2. And then I would bring up the fact that even though that's a good point, he had 7 rushing touchdowns last year, despite the fact that Derrick Henry had one of the greatest rushing seasons of all time. And then the Tannehill hater, he'd be like, well, touchdowns aren't sticky year to year. And then I'd go, well, doesn't that go for Jalen Hurts too? And then the next scene would just be me laying flowers at the foot of the Ryan Tannehill hater's grave. Look, folks, Tannehill is signed for 2 more seasons, is 1 year removed from a 40 total touchdown season, and is probably the most slept on dynasty quarterback entering 2022. You just can't make this up. His value-adjacent quarterback options are all players that dynasty gamers either view as stopgaps, won't roster at all, are rookies, or are named Tom Brady. This is literally the biggest blind spot in dynasty fantasy football right now. Because even if you tell yourself a ghost story tonight before bed about how Malik Willis is literally going to run away with the job, Tannehill will still be one of the hottest veteran quarterbacks on the market when his time is up. But then again, I'm old enough to remember Kellen Mond.